The grand estate of Grey Gardens, nestled in the exclusive Georgica Beach section of East Hampton, New York, boasts a rich and tumultuous history. Spanning 4 picturesque acres, the property was initially purchased by a wealthy couple in 1895, paving the way for the construction of the house in the early 1900s. By 1913, the estate found new life when it was acquired by the president of a coal company, who, along with his wife, Anna Gilman Hill, imported ornate concrete walls from Spain to enclose the lush gardens. The name Grey Gardens was inspired by the muted hues of the dunes, the walls, and the sea mist that enveloped the area. In 1923, the home entered the realm of American royalty when it was sold to Edith Bouvier Beale, the aunt of Jackie Onassis Kennedy and Lee Radziwill. For a time, Grey Gardens was a symbol of elegance and high society. However, as fortunes turned and misfortunes mounted, the estate fell into disrepair. The once majestic mansion became a shadow of its former self, overtaken by cats, raccoons, and perhaps even whispers of otherworldly presences. The decline was particularly heartbreaking for Big Edie Beale and her daughter, Little Edie, who struggled to maintain the estate amidst financial hardships. Their poignant story was immortalized in the 1975 documentary by Albert and David Maysles, which captured the eccentricities and resilience of the Beales. Big Edie clung to Grey Gardens until her passing in 1977, leaving behind a legacy steeped in both beauty and melancholy. It is said that her spirit lingers within the walls of the estate, ever watchful over the home that once held her heart. In 1979, author and journalist Sally Quinn, famed for her column in the Washington Post, purchased Grey Gardens from Little Edie. Quinn quickly became a believer in the estate's ghostly inhabitants, claiming that she felt the presence of Big Edie watching over the property. With each creak of the floorboards and rustle of the curtains, the spirits of Grey Gardens seem to weave their stories into the fabric of this enchanting yet haunting estate, ensuring that its captivating legacy lives on. Nestled across from the pristine Monterey Square in Savannah, Georgia, the Mercer Williams House stands as a striking testament to history, architecture, and the mysteries that lurk within its walls. Constructed in 1860, this Italianate revival home fell into neglect until the 1970s, when the renowned preservationist and antiques dealer Jim Williams took on the monumental task of restoring it to its former glory. But the Mercer Williams House harbors a dark past, shadowed by 3 tragic deaths that have left indelible marks on its history. The first tragedy struck in 1969 when 11-year-old Tommy Downs plummeted from the roof, his life extinguished in an instant. Years later, in a moment that would forever link the house to scandal, Jim Williams fatally shot Danny Hansford in 1981 during a heated altercation. The incident thrust Williams into a notorious legal battle, culminating in his acquittal after 4 grueling trials. However, tragedy struck again when Williams himself died in the very same room as Hansford less than a year later, forever intertwining their fates. The Mercer Williams House gained wider recognition through the best-selling book Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, which brought its haunting legacy to the forefront of public consciousness. Yet, like much of Savannah, the house is rumored to rest upon unmarked graves, a fact that adds a chilling layer to its already storied past. Whispers of ghostly encounters and eerie phenomena persist, with tales of spectral sightings and inexplicable occurrences circulating among locals and visitors alike. The Mercer Williams House is not just a beautiful architectural gem. It is a portal to a past riddled with tragedy, intrigue, and the lingering spirits of those who once walked its halls. As the stories continue to unfold, the house remains a captivating reminder of the complexities of life and death in Savannah's rich history. In Gardner, Massachusetts, the S.K. Pierce Mansion stands as a chilling testament to the dark history woven into the fabric of this seemingly ordinary town. Built by Sylvester Pierce, a burgeoning furniture magnate, this grand Victorian home, stretching over 7,000 square feet, was initially a proud abode for him, his wife Susan, and their son. Sylvester, a man of considerable influence, welcomed notable figures such as President Calvin Coolidge, Bette Davis, and Norman Rockwell within its opulent walls. However, just 1 week after the family settled into their new life, tragedy struck. Susan succumbed to a mysterious bacterial illness, casting a pall over the mansion. Heartbroken yet determined, Sylvester remarried a woman named Ellen, who was 30 years his junior, and together they welcomed two more children into a household shadowed by grief. As the years rolled on, Sylvester and Ellen passed away, leaving their sons embroiled in a bitter feud over the mansion and the family furniture business. The onset of the Great Depression ultimately forced their hands as the once thriving company crumbled, easing tensions as their choices dwindled. The youngest son, Edward, took charge of the mansion, transforming it into a boarding house that quickly became infamous for its illicit activities. The haunting tales that emerged from this era were nothing short of chilling. Several occupants met tragic and violent ends within the mansion's walls. Locals whispered of the horrors that echoed through the corridors, from ghostly apparitions and flying objects to disembodied voices and sudden temperature drops. Visitors to the S.K. Pierce Mansion now report an array of spectral phenomena, making it a hotbed for ghost hunters and thrill seekers alike. The mansion, with its eerie ambiance and rich history, continues to draw those curious about its past, where the laughter of prominent guests is long replaced by the whispers of restless souls, forever entwined with the echoes of a forgotten era. Mudhouse Mansion in Fairfield, Ohio, looms large in local legend, a relic of a bygone era shrouded in mystery and misfortune. Nestled in Fairfield County, this enigmatic structure's exact origins remain elusive, with estimates placing its construction somewhere between the 1840s and 1900. However, its notoriety has overshadowed its historical significance, leading to a reputation that few other abandoned mansions can match. Sadly, the mansion no longer stands. It was demolished in 2015, its crumbling walls succumbing to time after lying empty since the 1930s. The last legal resident was Lulu Hartman Mast, whose ghostly presence has become entwined with the mansion's fate, while the property now belongs to her relative, Jean Mast. With scant information about its past occupants, the Mudhouse Mansion became a breeding ground for dark legends and chilling tales. Whispers of unspeakable horrors and spectral encounters filled the air, as the imagination ran wild in the absence of concrete facts. The eerie allure of abandoned places often feeds the darker corners of the human psyche, and Mudhouse Mansion was no exception, drawing curious souls who were captivated by its haunting aura. Though the sources of these legends remain questionable at best, the stories linger on, forever entwined with the memories of a mansion that once stood as a testament to history, now lost to time and the shadows of its own past. 455A Sackett Street in Brooklyn, New York, is a location that draws little attention in the haunted lore of the city, but those who know its history are all too aware of the chilling events that have transpired within its walls. Unlike the sprawling haunted houses that dominate ghost stories, this apartment embodies the unsettling idea that even in densely populated spaces, darkness can linger. One former resident who spent her formative years in the building recounts a series of harrowing experiences that left her questioning the very fabric of her childhood. The apartment, it seems, was plagued by inexplicable fires that erupted without warning and an oppressive energy that weighed heavily on all who entered. Tragedy seemed to hover like a dark cloud, enveloping the family in a series of misfortunes that were difficult to explain. But the most shocking revelation came when a child's body was discovered walled up in the apartment, a grim testament to the horrors that may have transpired there. Prior to this discovery, she and others reported sightings of a shadowy figure resembling a child, often seen in mirrors, whispering of its own tragic fate. The haunting echoes of past tragedies are compounded by the shared experiences of others who lived at 455A Sackett Street, each corroborating her tales of woe and dread. As the stories unfold, the apartment transforms from a simple dwelling into a macabre shrine of lost souls, making it a place best left unexplored. If this address were to appear again in any real estate listing, I certainly wouldn't be inclined to schedule a viewing, private balcony or not. Hotel Monte Vista in Flagstaff, Arizona, is no ordinary establishment. It's a sanctuary for the restless, a place where the past lingers in the form of spectral guests who refuse to check out. Originally opening its doors in 1927 as the Community Hotel, a tribute to the locals who pooled their resources to fund its construction, this historic site boasts a colorful and somewhat sordid history, including tales of underground opium dens, speakeasies, and illicit gambling. But it's the paranormal happenings that draw curious travelers to its doors. Room 220, in particular, has garnered a reputation for being particularly active. Guests have reported unsettling experiences, such as the television flickering to life and changing channels all on its own. Many have also shared chilling stories of feeling cold hands brush against them while they slept, awakening to the unsettling sensation of an unseen presence nearby. Adding to the eerie atmosphere is the infamous phantom bellboy, who has a penchant for knocking on doors and cheerfully announcing, "Room service!" But when guests rush to answer, they find nothing but an empty hallway, an unsettling reminder that they're not alone in the hotel. Perhaps the most disturbing of all the encounters happens in the hotel's basement, where the haunting cries of an infant echo through the halls. Staff members have often found themselves racing upstairs, desperate to escape the agonizing sound that seems all too real. Despite thorough investigations, no explanation has surfaced for this chilling phenomenon, leaving guests to wonder about the tragic stories trapped within the walls of the Hotel Monte Vista. Each stay promises not just comfort, but a brush with the spectral remnants of a storied past that refuse to fade away. Myrtle's Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, is a place steeped in chilling history and rumored to be perched atop a burial ground, home to at least 12 restless spirits. Constructed in 1796, this storied estate holds within its walls a tapestry of ghostly tales, with one of the most notorious revolving around an enslaved woman named Chloe. Chloe's story begins with a tragic punishment. After being caught eavesdropping, her ear was cruelly severed. Haunted by her suffering and seeking vengeance, Chloe concocted a deadly plot. In a twisted act of revenge, she poisoned a birthday cake meant for the master's daughters, resulting in their untimely deaths. The horror of her actions led to her being hanged by her fellow enslaved people, but her spirit did not find peace. To this day, Chloe is said to roam the plantation, a haunting figure adorned with a turban to hide her disfigured ear. For the brave souls curious enough to seek out the supernatural for themselves, the Myrtle's Plantation offers overnight stays at $175 per night. Guests often report eerie encounters, feeling the chilling presence of Chloe and the other spirits that inhabit this historic site, where every creak of the floorboards seems to whisper the secrets of a dark past. Villa de Vecchi looms ominously near the enchanting shores of Lake Como, Italy, shrouded in mystery and an ever-present blanket of fog. Known as the House of Witches, this foreboding mansion was constructed between 1854 and 1857 as a summer retreat for Count Felix de Vecchi. However, what was meant to be a haven for relaxation and leisure quickly descended into a chilling tale of tragedy. Just a year after the grand home was completed, the architect met an untimely death, casting an early shadow over the estate. In 1862, Count de Vecchi returned home to a scene of horror. His wife lay brutally murdered, and his daughter had vanished without a trace. Desperate, he searched for her for a year, but when hope faded into despair, he took his own life, leaving the mansion steeped in sorrow. After the Count's tragic end, his brother moved in, and the family continued to inhabit the eerie house until the chaos of World War II forced them to leave. Since the 1960s, the villa has stood silent and vacant, a ghostly reminder of its tumultuous past. In a twist of fate, a devastating avalanche in 2002 swept through the area, demolishing every other home in its path. Yet Villa de Vecchi remains standing, untouched by the disaster. Its weathered walls hold secrets of loss and darkness, making it a haunting testament to the tragedies that unfolded within. The Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, harbors a dark past that sends shivers down the spine. In 1937, millionaire inventor Norman G. Baker, a man with a flair for the flamboyant and a peculiar obsession with the color purple, transformed the hotel into a hospital claiming he could cure cancer. Imagine entering a place where hope intertwined with desperation. Patients flocked from far and wide, drawn by the promise of healing. Baker, donning his signature purple attire and driving a matching car, painted the hospital in his beloved hue, with the chimneys still bearing the eerie shade today. But behind the vivid colors lay a chilling reality. Many of those who sought treatment under Baker's dubious care never left alive. Instead of the miracles he promised, patients found themselves victims of his charade, their dreams of recovery fading into tragic endings. Eventually, the truth about Baker's fraudulent practices came to light, and he was chased out of town, leaving behind a legacy steeped in death and deception. Today, the Crescent Hotel operates as a lively establishment, but whispers of its haunted past linger in the air. Guests report eerie encounters with a bearded man dressed in Victorian clothing who roams the halls, and the playful spirit of a 5-year-old girl, her laughter echoing through the once ominous corridors. The hotel stands as a chilling reminder of the lives that once sought solace within its walls, forever haunted by the ghosts of their past. Mizpah Hotel, a jewel nestled in Tonopah, Nevada, first opened its doors in 1907, standing as one of the state's premier luxury hotels. With its rich history and ornate decor, the hotel has become a backdrop for eerie tales, most notably the haunting legend of the Lady in Red. The details surrounding her tragic demise are shrouded in mystery. Some claim she was brutally murdered by a jealous ex-boyfriend, while others tell of a heart-wrenching tale of betrayal where her husband, driven by rage upon discovering her infidelity, ended her life in a fit of fury. Whatever the truth may be, her spirit is said to linger on the 5th floor, where she met her untimely end. Guests at the Mizpah Hotel recount chilling encounters with the Lady in Red, sharing stories of her whispers tickling the ears of unsuspecting men. They also speak of the peculiar gifts she leaves behind, pearls from her shattered necklace mysteriously appearing on their pillows, a haunting reminder of her tragic fate. For the daring souls, a stay in the Lady in Red suite promises an opportunity to connect with the ghostly figure. And if that sounds a bit too intense, you can always indulge in the Red Lady Bloody Mary at the hotel restaurant, a drink that channels the spirit of the hotel's most famous resident while keeping the paranormal thrills at bay. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, a haunting relic in Weston, West Virginia, opened its doors in 1864 with the noble intention of providing care for 250 patients. However, by the 1950s, the asylum had spiraled into chaos, housing over 2,400 individuals in conditions that can only be described as nightmarish. Stories of overcrowding run rampant, with reports of patients relegated to cages, a chilling testament to the asylum's grim legacy. After decades of suffering, the doors finally closed in 1994, but the echoes of the past still resonate within its walls. Visitors today recount spine-tingling tales of paranormal activity, claiming to encounter the lingering spirits of those who once called the asylum home. Whispers and shadows roam the halls, hinting at the untold stories trapped within. For the intrepid souls seeking a brush with the beyond, the asylum offers a range of experiences. Embark on an overnight ghost hunt from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., where the veil between the living and the dead feels tantalizingly thin. Alternatively, join a 2-hour paranormal tour from 10:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m., or take a shorter 90-minute day tour to explore the haunted history of this infamous institution. Nestled in the heart of New York City, the Merchant House Museum stands as a time capsule, the only fully preserved family home from the 19th century. This historic residence was home to the Treadwell family for over a century, with the last of their line, Gertrude Treadwell, taking her final breaths within its walls in 1933. Since then, whispers of ghostly encounters have swirled around the museum, captivating both visitors and staff who report eerie, disembodied phenomena. Curious about these spectral tales? Step into the past on a candlelit ghost tour of the museum, where every creak of the floorboards and flicker of candlelight adds to the atmosphere of mystery. Even if you don't catch a glimpse of an apparition or hear the laughter of children in empty rooms, you'll likely feel the weight of history pressing down upon you. A vivid reminder that you are intruding on a life once lived, surrounded by the very belongings that Gertrude and her family cherished. In the heart of San Francisco, the Queen Anne Hotel boasts a rich history that dates back to 1890, when it served as an esteemed etiquette school for young ladies. Today, the hotel welcomes guests into its 48 charming rooms, but whispers of the past linger in the air, especially in room 410, once the domain of the strict headmistress, Miss Mary Lake. Visitors who dare to stay in her former office often report uncanny experiences that blur the line between the living and the spectral. Imagine waking in the middle of the night to find your blankets perfectly tucked around you, or discovering your clothes mysteriously unpacked, as if Miss Mary herself were ensuring that everything is just so. The lingering presence of Miss Lake adds an enchanting layer to the hotel's allure, turning each stay into a delightful dance with the past. The Lizzie Borden House in Fall River, Massachusetts, holds a dark and infamous legacy dating back to 1892, when Lizzie Borden became the prime suspect in the brutal axe murders of her father and stepmother. Although she was acquitted of the grisly crime, the specter of those fateful events still lingers within the walls of her home. Today, visitors report chilling encounters as they wander the halls where history took a twisted turn. Some claim to hear Lizzie's unsettling cackle echoing through the rooms, a haunting reminder of her past. Others recount the chilling cries of a begging for help, her voice seemingly trapped in time. Even the spirits of Lizzie's slain parents are said to roam the grounds, their presence felt by those brave enough to explore this haunted site. The Lizzie Borden House now operates as a museum and bed and breakfast, inviting guests to experience the eerie paranormal activity firsthand. Are you daring enough to spend a night in a house steeped in such blood-soaked history? Tucked away on a 35-acre estate in San Antonio, Texas, a majestic property hides beneath the shade of towering century-old oak trees. With its picturesque landscape and elegant Greek Revival manor, it has long served as a romantic venue for weddings and other celebrations. But beneath the surface of its charm lies a chilling history that has drawn in not only happy couples, but also those seeking something far more unsettling. The land itself carries a dark past, dating back to the mid-1800s. 50 years before the house was constructed, the ground was stained with blood during the Battle of Salado in 1842. 60 Mexican soldiers lost their lives here, and it's said that the echoes of this violent conflict still resonate today. Visitors have reported strange sightings, shadowy figures in military uniforms roaming the grounds, vanishing into the night as quickly as they appear. Some believe these are the restless spirits of the fallen soldiers, forever tied to the battlefield where they met their tragic end. As the manor rose from the ashes of the past, it became home to some of San Antonio's most notable families. The Ripsteins and Mahlers were among the first to live in the grand estate, their lives intertwined with the land that held such a violent history. But the peace they sought may have been an illusion, as tales of paranormal activity began to surface. Whispers of strange occurrences, faint voices in empty rooms, the feeling of being watched, have followed the manor's history like a shadow. Later, the home became occupied by the Holbrook and Woods families. Sisters Catherine Holbrook and Blanche Woods, along with their husbands and children, brought their family's presence into the already storied property. Catherine's husband met his end in the house, and though the families eventually moved on, many believe their spirits never left. Muffled conversations in the middle of the night, sudden gusts of icy air, and the unmistakable sound of footsteps have led many to believe that these past residents still wander the halls, unable to sever their connection to the home. Though the manor itself has its share of supernatural rumors, it's the barn behind the main house that has truly earned a reputation for being haunted. Once part of a working dairy farm, the barn is believed to be the most spiritually active building on the estate. It served as a backdrop for many lives and perhaps a few deaths. Paranormal investigators have reported hearing voices, feeling unseen presences, and witnessing the apparition of shadowy figures flitting in and out of sight. Visitors to the barn often describe an overwhelming feeling of dread, as if they're being watched by something not quite human. Today, the house belongs to Joanne Rivera, who lives there with her family. Despite its eerie history, the family has embraced the inn's paranormal reputation. Joanne frequently partners with local ghost tour companies and has invited paranormal investigators into her home over the years. She acknowledges that strange things happen here, though she's become accustomed to the hauntings. Rivera is also an avid collector of porcelain dolls, and some speculate that one particular doll in her collection may be the cause of the heightened activity in the house. Described as having cold, lifelike eyes, the doll is said to exude an unsettling aura. Paranormal experts believe it might be a conduit, holding on to the energy of the many spirits that seem to call this place home. Over the years, countless visitors have had their own experiences, adding to the ever-growing lore of the property. Apparitions in period clothing, sudden bursts of cold air, and unexplainable noises have all been documented. One visitor described waking up in the dead of night to find a figure standing at the foot of their bed, staring silently before vanishing. Others have heard faint whispers or felt invisible hands brush against their skin, leaving them with a sense of unease long after they've left the house. The barn, however, is where the most spine-chilling encounters have taken place. Guests have heard footsteps echoing through the empty space, while others report being pushed or touched by unseen forces. Photographs taken inside the barn often reveal strange orbs of light or shadowy figures lurking in the background. For many, it feels as though the barn holds onto the energy of those who once lived, and perhaps died, within its walls. Adding to the mystery is the porcelain doll Rivera keeps among her collection. Its pale face and glassy eyes have become infamous among paranormal investigators, who suspect it could be amplifying the hauntings. Some claim the doll has moved on its own, while others have reported a palpable sense of fear whenever they come near it. Though Rivera brushes off the rumors, the doll's eerie presence continues to draw attention from those hoping to uncover the truth behind the property's haunted reputation. Whether it's the lingering spirits of fallen soldiers, the ghostly residents of past families, or the strange pull of the porcelain doll, one thing is certain: this is no ordinary home. Visitors and ghost hunters alike are drawn to the mysterious energy that seems to pulse through every room, hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural. The property's long history of life, death, and the paranormal has cemented its place as a chilling destination where the past refuses to stay buried. For those brave enough to visit, the estate offers more than just picturesque views. It's a gateway to the unknown, where the veil between the living and the dead seems unusually thin. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share the video. See you next time.